All new tonight on Fox 31 News at 10.
A liquor store cannot go there. That's not going to work.
Concerns rising in Albany as a new liquor store is in the works.
Plus,
this is just common sense. The border wall would very quickly pay for itself.
President Trump now wanting a construction change to the border wall. We break down how much it may impact your wallet.
Well, I'm still expecting plenty of sun, but I'll break down when we can expect a turnaround in our forecast, all that and more, coming up in a couple minutes.
This is Fox 31 News at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for watching Fox 31 News at 10. I'm Aaron Leedy.
And I'm Nicole Williams.
An update tonight following the case of Tara Grinstead. Lawyers for Ryan Duke have submitted paperwork requesting a bond in the amount of $10,000. His lawyers say that Duke does not pose a significant flight or felony risk, danger to the community, or any risk in intimidating witnesses. Duke has not requested bond previously due to a co-defendant, Bo Dukes, being out on bond and believed that he could bring harm to him or his family. Bo Dukes was arrested in Irwin County earlier this month.
Happening now, the Lee County Medical Center is slowly coming to completion. At last night's commission meeting, the board voted unanimously to approve a new memorandum of understanding for the hospital. Fox 31's Kelly McCarthy was there to see it all take place, and she joins us live with more.
Nicole, the hospital is now one step closer to the highly anticipated groundbreaking ceremony. At last night's meeting, commissioners announced construction is set to begin earlier than anticipated. Commissioner Rick Muggeridge says if all goes as planned, the groundbreaking is set to take place in June. And last night, commissioners voted unanimously to approve version 17 of the Memorandum of Understanding. The latest document includes minor changes with additional partners and land. Muggeridge says the hospital plan is in place. Now the hospital design needs to be completed and construction still has to be funded.
You know, it's like the duck that sits on the water and he doesn't look like he's doing anything, but his little paddles are going really hard. That's really where we're at in the process. We've got a lot of things going, a lot of different things from internet connectivity to utilities agreements.
A public announcement regarding the hospital will be made in the near future. But for now, live from the Fox 31 studio, I'm Kaylee McCarthy.
We provide at the Atlanta Community Food Bank more than 61 million meals a year to people in need, but that represents 1/12 of what is provided by the SNAP program in our region.
You just heard from Kyle Wade from the Atlanta Community Food Bank. His statement comes from the case that millions of low-income Americans could have a harder time affording food if the partial government shutdown continues into February. SNAP benefits provide everything from supplemental grocery money to entire food budgets for very low-income families. Another 7 million pregnant women, new mothers, and young children receive federal assistance through the WIC program. Their benefits are also in danger of drying up next month.
If you close that program for a month, there's no possible way for us to make up the difference. We would have to more than double and do all of that in a month to make up the difference.
Food bank programs that are already pushed to the limits at times are worried about the influx, not only from those who might lose their benefits, but also from federal employees who aren't getting a paycheck and may start needing assistance from food pantries.
Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue tweeting today that SNAP benefits in Georgia will continue through the shutdown until February. Funding was only initially available until January, but officials are using a provision to make those benefits available longer. Perdue says that should provide enough time for lawmakers and President Trump to agree on a spending bill to end the shutdown. Now, President Trump is raising the stakes to get funding for the border wall. Speaking directly to the American people Tuesday night, Trump wants the money to build a barrier between the U.S. and Mexico. And now he claims Democrats support constructing a steel structure to stop migrants from crossing into the U.S. illegally.
It's just common sense. The border wall would very quickly pay for itself. The cost of illegal drugs exceeds $500 billion a year, vastly more than the $5.7 billion we have requested from Congress.
And our national correspondent Michelle Macaluso is here to break down how much a wall could cost you if the president gets his way.
The border is a big problem. It's a very dangerous problem.
President Trump wants $5.7 billion for a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's a small drop in the bucket for the federal government, whose entire budget is more than $4 trillion this year.
Compared to what the size of the entire budget, or even the Homeland Security budget, it's a small amount of money to help secure our border.
So how much would Trump's wall cost you? With roughly 328 million people in the United States, it would cost each person about $17.
May seem like a lot of expenditure, but compared to Social Security expenditures, Medicare expenditures, defense expenditures, which amount to hundreds, even thousands of dollars per person, it's not a large amount.
Democrats are refusing to give any money for the president's wall, offering only $1.3 billion for border security. We pressed House Democrats on why they're unwilling to fund the wall at such a small cost per person in the U.S.
We have a responsibility to be guardians of taxpayer money in a responsible way. This is a colossal waste of money.
It's got to be a modern plan using modern technology, and they've got to demonstrate to the Congress and to the taxpayers of this country.
Pete Sepp with the National Taxpayers Union says it's all about perspective.
What's important is ensuring that any project, whether it's a wall, whether it's building a submarine, whether it's giving out Social Security checks, is done efficiently and effectively.
For a little more perspective on the $5 billion number, Sepp says that would basically fund the entire federal government for about half a day. On Capitol Hill, I'm Michelle Macaluso.
Having active duty troops on the border is getting more expensive. Two U.S. defense officials say the price tag is expected to be $132 million by the end of the month. That's $10 million more than a previous estimate that was revised after an internal revenue by the Department of Defense. This new total has already been given to Congress. The officials also say the deployment of National Guard Operation Guardian Support is expected to cost $308 million by the end of fiscal year 2019. That brings us to tonight's question of the day. Are you willing to pay $17 a year for this border wall? You can vote by visiting our website at WFXL.com/question.
Well, temperatures for this midweek were right around 62 degrees, but it didn't necessarily feel like that when you factor in a bit of a northerly breeze we had for pretty much most of the day. It's only when you were shielded from that wind and in that sun that did feel like 62 degrees. But today's temperatures were right where we should be for this time of year, about 2 degrees above average. But this morning woke up to 48 degrees, which is the last somewhat mild night we'll have for the next couple of nights, as so much cooler overnights are on the docket. But afternoon temperatures do look to stay near average as we move through the next 7 days. So no more of those above average 70s and 80s that we've been seeing for what feels like the past couple of weeks. And the rainfall, we are still tracking the latest on that potential for some rain showers that do look to move through for our weekend days. But then high pressure is right back in town after those rain showers do affect us for the weekend. So plenty of sun expected early next week, but of course we'll talk about that in just a couple seconds. Big picture shows us a whole bunch of lake effect snowfall up in the Great Lakes regions, New York State as well. Down here we're a bit cooler, but we have mainly clear skies, and high pressure still takes hold for most of the central part of the country. So we do still have some time for quiet weather before that system does develop and move out of Texas for this weekend. Close to home, you see plenty of clear sky on the satellite and radar, so not too many concerns for you for tonight, but these temperatures will be getting quite a bit cooler. We'll talk more about that coming up in a couple minutes.
There are no reports of deaths or injuries after a tornado touched down in Ohio. The National Weather Service says an EF1 tornado hit Cortland Tuesday morning. It stayed on the ground for about 4.5 miles, knocking down trees and power lines. Firefighters say some cars were damaged by falling trees. One woman says she's just happy no one got hurt.
I'm so blessed because, I mean, here we are, we're alive, you know, and I'm talking to you, and I know how blessed I am, I really am.
In health news tonight, the Washington State Department of Health says wrapping food in aluminum foil and sticking it in the fridge could be putting you at risk. The problem is because foil does not completely seal the food off from air, which allows bacteria to grow faster. Some bacteria, like staph, can make toxins which are not killed when food is cooked. Bacteria can then grow on the food and cause foodborne illnesses. Registered dietitians at the Cleveland Clinic say you should be storing all leftovers in shallow, airtight containers instead. New tonight, thyroid issues and women. New details about the signs and symptoms.
Plus, driving while high. Tonight, we take a look at the effects of smoking marijuana and how law enforcement are cracking down on drivers who may smoke the drug before getting behind the wheel.